I want to talk about something that I found kind of interesting. I look at things from a scientific, stance nowadays, without emotion. I mean, we're going to always be in our emotions because we're human or we're having a human experience. But I want to talk about others and, how others are very upset right now because they cannot feed off of your energy. Because what we know about others is that they are some of the biggest energy vampires. And they are always on the prowl looking for people to rile up, people to antagonize so they can get their energy source, which is your energy. I had two incidents recently where others approached me because of a certain preference that I have. Okay. And they accused me of being, let's just say they accused me of being a bigot, which I don't care anything about because there is no such thing as evil or good in my motherfucking world. So if I'm a bigot, if I'm this, I'm that, I embrace all of that motherfucking shit. Okay. So they accused me of being a bigot. And my response to both of them, it wasn't emotional. I just told them, I said, look, you and I are not the same species. This is what I said to the others. You and I are not the same species. You are a totally different, separate species, and you come from a totally different, unconscious collective than I do. Okay? You come from a totally different set of energies than I do. We are not the same. And I got radio silence when I said that. Well, for one, I blocked them because I don't go back and forth with others because it's time consuming. And like I said, it's all about them being able to drain and to steal your energy. And so many of us, we make the mistake in allowing them to use their words to get a specific type of reaction out of us. But instead of us being emotional and even acknowledging them and their weak existence, which is only predicated upon our superior existence, instead of us getting emotional about it, we need to start examining things like scientists in a sense. If you want to, you don't have to. But when you get emotional, that gives them the feeding that they're looking for. And right now, because there is an awakening going on in us, because there's an awakening going on in us, their food supply is not as abundant as it once was. Because what's happening is this is why a lot of the others are dying off and getting sick and getting all types of diseases. This is why they're going crazy because they can't get the energy supply that they are accustomed to, that their ancestors were accustomed to. They can't get that energy supply the way that they want it anymore because it's being cut off. Because more and more of us are going within and we're understanding who and what the others really are. They're up under a totally different, let me say it again, they're up under a totally different morphic grid or field, whatever you want to call it, within the unconscious collective. Okay? Which is where decisions are made that we are not even aware of on a conscious level. because the unconscious collective is strictly in the quantum world. And we come from a totally different place, we do, than the others. And because they can't get that fix anymore, they're dying out. They're angry. They're malicious. They're bitter. So now that I examine it, from a scientific standpoint, and I understand what's really happening, I know now why they are so angry. They're angry because they're hungry. And what does a person do when they're hungry? They begin to cannibalize themselves. When they can't get the food supply or the delicacy that they are accustomed to, they begin to cannibalize on themselves. That is why we have all of the mass shootings that we see taking place, because they're going crazy because they can't get that energy. See, a lot of times we have to stop looking at things from a conscious standpoint. We have to stop looking at things from a good or bad standpoint, because really good and bad are really the flip side of the same motherfucking coin. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing. Good, bad, all of that shit is the same. It's just another side of polarity. So when we see all of these atrocious things happening, yeah, they are bad to look at and we don't want them to happen on a conscious level, but we have to look behind the scene as occultists and spiritualists and understand what's really happening, what's really going on. Few things are going on. Number one, Cthulhu is rising. I talked about that before. And the more Cthulhu arises, the more the others will descend more into madness. Okay? The more the others will descend into madness. The more they will be on the prowl, the more desperate they will become to feed, to fulfill that void within them. The more they will become more and more predatory to get the food supply, which is our energy that they need to survive and to sustain themselves. And the more and more that we don't show them any emotion, the more and more that we respond to their BS with scientific, non-emotional responses, the more and more they will continue to dissipate and to go away and fade off into nothingness. They will not exist. See, we're being distracted by Trump, impeachment, mass shootings. Here recently, in the past, within the past couple of months, I should say, maybe past 3 or 4 months, I could be wrong. There hasn't been too many mass shootings lately. Not like they were at the beginning of the year. Okay? Now there was some kind of shooting at a Halloween party out in California, but I'm talking about mass shootings, like at concerts or major public places. That has not been happening. You think they just stop randomly? They just say, "Oh no, 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 no." No, because all of those things are, pre-planned. Because a lot of those people who commit those mass shootings, a lot of them are not even really fucking fully human. A lot of them are, what do you call it? No, I'm sorry, artificial life forms who live human lives. They look human, they talk human. But what happens is that once they find out that they're artificial and they have no spirit, no soul, or anything like that, they go insane and they begin killing people. See, a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, don't it? But yeah, I picked that up from something else. I decoded something else, and I realized what they were really trying to tell us. A lot of these mass shootings are being A lot of these mass shootings are being perpetrated by artificial intelligent, human-looking people. hmm Notice there hasn't been any, but there are distractions that are keeping us from going within so we can continue to do the work we need to do within ourselves as us. Talking about us, work that we need to do on ourselves so we can expand our consciousness and get up out of this motherfucking prison where we're being fed off of. Okay? So now I get it now. I understand why they're so angry and why they have an issue with people who say, I'm simply not interested in your type. I get it now. They have an issue because they want to feed off of your energy. And when you don't give them that energy, because though the others, they are natural energy vampires. They're natural energy vampires being backed up by a spiritual force that feeds off of us as well. Yeah. So they get so offended and then they label you as being, oh, you're a bigot or you're a bad person. See, none of that stuff doesn't, see, we have to stop. Well, I'm not going to say we, but none of that stuff, I'm only speaking to myself. None of that stuff affects me because I'm not trying to be a good human being. I'm not trying to impress anybody. So if somebody says you're a bigot, you're this, you're that, fine, I'll accept that. Because at the end of the day, nobody is innocent. We're every motherfucking thing. We're good, we're bad, we're ugly, we're evil, we're good, we're the devil, we're God. We're all of that motherfucking shit. We're all of it. That's all part of self enlightenment. Understanding it's just not about being good. It's not just about being good, it's about everything in totality. So, again, I get it now. They can't get their food source the way they want to anymore. And I am a symbol that they cannot have a certain food source or a certain energy source that they want from me. They can't have that. So, when they can't get it, they go insane. They call you names. They try to use words to shame you. And we have to learn to rise above that and look at it from a scientific standpoint. Well, why would a stranger be mad or offended because I have a preference for a yellow person or a pink person or a blue person or an orange person? Why would they be offended about that? If they are a complete stranger, I have no access to their life. I have no influence in their life. Well, actually, I do have influence in their lives. They just don't know it because they're weak. But if I have no access to this person, why are they so angry? That anger is not just about you not wanting to be with a certain person. That anger is about them not being able to feed off of your energy. And when a motherfucker is hungry, they will say and do anything to get fed. When a motherfucker is malnourished, they will do anything to eat. People will do anything to eat, even on a human level. If you're hungry, I've never had that problem because I've always had money. But when you're hungry and you're without, people will rob, kill, steal. They will do whatever they have to in order to feed themselves sometimes. And that's what we're dealing with here. But the only difference is we're talking about energy. And that's just as important, if not more important. They will steal, kill, do whatever they have to do in order to suction off or to suck your fucking energy. And because I have never allowed others to use my motherfucking energy, at least on a conscious level, because I've never let them do that, that drives them insane. Well, why can't I get, you can't because my energy is sacred to me. And I only exchange energy with like minded people, meaning people with melanin, black people. That's who I like exchanging my energy with. That is who I feel comfortable with because we're not all the same. No matter what they say, we're not all the same. And that's science. They've done multiple studies. That's not hate. That's not racism. That's science. Okay? That's science. So, again, I get it. I get it now. I get it. When they can't get their food source, they go crazy. And that is what we're really seeing now. We're seeing Black people wake up, come into self enlightenment. That's what, in my reality, that's what I'm saying. People are in different realities. People are in different, energies or whatever the case may be. So they're seeing something totally different. Where I'm at, I'm seeing Black people collectively wake up. And because of that, that is fucking with the others and their food source. And they're going crazy. So I understand it. It's one of those things where a person is hungry and they will do anything to eat. So I get it now. So that's all I really had to say. I just wanted to say that, and that's really it.